Hey guys, Dr. Rebecca Warren here, and I just wanted to take a second and get on Facebook Live to answer a question that I get asked a lot. I get asked this question a lot. I see it a lot asked on social media and discussion groups, especially when it comes to keto. And so the question that I get asked a lot and that I see at a lot of places online is eating keto and is intermittent fasting safe while nursing? And I'm just going to tell you a little bit of my background. I am a doctor. I'm a doctor of chiropractic. We run a wellness center here locally in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I do health coaching all over the U.S. I myself have been eating low carb, high fat on and off for the last 6 years. I have been doing intermittent fasting for years. I can't even remember when I first started it. And I am doing keto, more strictly keto and diet variation in the last few months. So the reason why I say that is because I have 2 kids. I have a toddler who is 2.5, and I have a little girl that's about to be 1. And so I've nursed the toddler through pregnancy, and I did tandem nursing, so I nursed both of them. And so during that time, minus when I was pregnant, I was still doing intermittent fasting, and I was still doing low carb and high fat. And so I have experienced it myself. I've read the literature. And so the biggest thing I see with moms that are nursing and trying to do keto is a lot of them will say there's 2 different groups. There's never like an in-between. There's either people that are like, yeah, I did keto while nursing and it was fantastic. I lost all this weight. And then I have this really big group of moms that say, yeah, I did keto and then my supply dropped. It dropped really, really bad. And so I had to either stop nursing because they wanted to continue to lose weight and get healthy, or they had to stop doing keto. And so the biggest thing with that I wanted to talk about was the problem with doing keto the wrong way. And so you can go into Pinterest and you can go into Facebook and you can read about what keto is. But what you have to understand, depending on what your health goals are, you have to listen to what your body needs. And women, your needs are going to be very different than a man who's doing keto. What does that mean? It means women, you're going to need higher amounts of carbs. So if you go online, you'll see stuff like 20 grams of carbs is doing keto. And a lot of people like to jump into ketosis really quickly, so they'll do 20 grams right away. But women, we need more, especially if you're nursing, because you're using up sugar to make your breast milk for your children. And so you're burning through sugar a lot faster. You need more carbs. And so the first thing I always say is, if depending on where you're at in your health journey and what changes you want to make, you should be working with a functional practitioner, someone who's going to stand and walk alongside you and be able to coach you through this. So that's the biggest thing, because every body is different. The second thing I would say about nursing and doing keto and intermittent fasting is making sure that you are pushing up your limits of carbs up to 50 grams of carbs. Not only that, not just for nursing moms, but for women in general, you're going to need higher carbs to have normal cycles while you're doing keto. So you're probably thinking, well, how am I going to do keto? How am I going to be in ketosis if I'm eating higher carbs? Like you're saying, my body needs that. The thing that's amazing about keto that we talk about, that we teach, that we talk to our coaching clients about and our practice members, is that keto is moving towards more of an ancestral way of eating. What does that mean? It means our bodies will thrive off of variation. That means that no one set diet long term is going to be the answer. So that means I work with a lot of women and try to get them into a fat adapted state where you're burning fat, you're not depending on sugar, and then we vary their diet. They'll eat higher carbs one day, they'll fast another day, they'll fast full day fast if they're not nursing. And they'll just go between all these different ways of eating, because that's how our body gets well. Our body gets well, stays well, and functions optimally on diet variation. So nursing while keto, women, you're going to have to eat higher than 20 grams. You should be at 50 grams of carbs, and then around your cycle, you should be increasing that as well. Now, the biggest thing, the reason why women that are nursing don't see good results, or it affects their milk supply, is two things. They're not eating enough calories and they're not eating enough fat. Plain and simple. I'll go ahead and tell you guys this. I coach people in my office that are not pregnant. And when I look at their, not pregnant, not nursing, sorry about that. They're not nursing. And when I look at their food diary, I'm like, you're hardly eating anything. And the problem is that when we start to do a diet, which this shouldn't be just a diet, this should be a lifestyle change, but we can focus on, wanting to be successful. So what I find is that a lot of people focus on the carb intake and they forget about the important part, which is eating a lot of fat and eating enough calories. So the biggest issue that nursing moms are going to find is when you're focusing on your carb intake, you're forgetting about how much fat you're eating and how many calories you need to take in. And listen, I've been doing this for years. I said that. And I got out of ketosis, I carb loaded, and we still eat paleo. So carb loading doesn't mean you're going to go get a Domino's pizza. It just means like now I eat more paleo food. I eat more sweet potatoes and butternut squash. And I was trying to get back into ketosis, and this was like last week. And I was just like, wow, I cannot get back into ketosis. I was testing my blood ketones. And Dr. Nathan actually called me out. He goes, you do realize these last 2 days, you've cut out carbs, but you haven't been eating a lot of fat. And it was completely true. My life was crazy. I have a 2.5-year-old that is feisty and a 1-year-old that's even feistier, if that's a word. And those 2 days were like chaos. So I was more focused on cutting out carbs, and I didn't even think about the fat that I was consuming. So that night I made a fat smoothie. I did coconut milk. I did coconut yogurt. I did keto, bone broth protein, and some stevia. It was a huge mason jar. And the next day my ketone levels were 1.5. So I got my ketone levels up. So it can happen to any of us, especially if you have stress and work and you're running around and you're taking care of kids. It can be very easy when we're trying to do keto or intermittent fasting to not eat enough calories and not eat enough fat. And that, moms, that is where you're going to get your milk supply down. That's where you're going to see changes. That's where you're going to realize, oh no, this keto doesn't work for me. It's not that. It's just that you're not eating enough fat and you're not consuming enough calories. So that's really, really important. And for some of you guys that are like jumping into keto and you want to see these fast results, yeah, eating closer to 50 grams of carbs versus 20, it might take you a little bit longer to see the results that you want to see and maybe even weight loss. But come on, guys, you just had a baby. You just pushed a human being out of your body. Like, that's amazing. Our bodies are amazing. Your body is amazing. So give yourself time and give yourself grace. So in order to be successful with keto and intermittent fasting while nursing, 3 things. You're going to have to up your grams of carbs. So you're not going to be closer to 20 grams. You're going to be closer to 50 grams. The second thing you're going to do is you need to eat enough calories. And that's important too. So if you're intermittent fasting, which means, I'll eat in an 8-hour period. But guys, I'm still eating all the calories I need. What I find is that people will just eat 2 meals and they're like all vegetables with like some olive oil on it. That's not going to sustain you, especially if you're active, running after toddlers, running after kids, or going to work, or being at home and having to take care of the home. You're active, you're going to need more calories. So making sure that you're eating enough calories. And then finally, eat enough fat. So my go-to thing is I tell my coaching clients and I tell my practice members, you should start making it a normal thing where you're eating an avocado a day. Yes, avocados are a bit more expensive, but it's like a whole stinking meal. It's full of nutrients. It's a lot of fat. I think it's like 250 calories. Don't quote me on that. You can check it, but I know it's a lot of calories. So including an avocado a day, and then doing like a drink, because if you're forgetting, like at the end of the day, sometimes I'm like, oof, I need more fat, doing like a drink. So there's 3 different options I suggest. Either bulletproof coffee, where it's like organic beans, single origin, or purity coffee, bulletproof coffee beans, 2 tablespoons of grass-fed butter, and I do 2 caps of the brain octane. You can do bulletproof in the morning. You can do bone broth. So we'll do bone broth. We make it at home with grass-fed bones, or our favorite brand is Kettle and Fire. So kettle and fire pastured raised chicken bone broth, or grass-fed bone broth. Then do 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 cups of bulletproof coffee, and some sea salt, and then mix that up. Or just do a fat smoothie, which is going to be coconut milk, a whole entire avocado, just a keto protein, a good quality protein. So we use Ancient Nutrition, and then some stevia to taste. So those are the 3 ways that we kind of sneak in fat. And of course, just throwing in olive oil on everything. You don't cook with olive oil, but anytime we cook with something, we'll cook with it and then we'll take it off and then just throw olive oil on it. So the biggest thing, ladies, moms that are nursing and you want to do keto, and why do people want to do keto, intermittent fasting? Because it's going to balance your hormones, it's going to rest your gut, and it's going to make you less dependent on sugar for energy. So that hangry feeling, that feeling like you have to be snacking throughout the day, or you'll eat something and then you're hungry 2 hours later, that means you're dependent on sugar. You're burning sugar and you're not burning fat. And you need good quality fat for healthy cells and a healthy body. So that's why a lot of people do it, and also the weight loss. But weight loss, when you're doing it the right way, it happens because you're balancing your hormones. So I love, doing keto and intermittent fasting to heal the body and to jump the body back to where it should be. But also give yourself grace, ladies. Don't jump into something. Don't be too strict on yourself after having a baby, because you need to give your body time to heal. Not only did you push out a baby, but you pushed out an organ that was attached, to your uterus. So give yourself love, give yourself grace. And then when you're able to do it well, do it well. So thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know if you have any questions.